It's not magic, it's not luck. It comes down to principle, and there are 5 core values that lead to happiness and success. The context of what I'm sharing with you on this particular video comes from almost 3 decades of clinical experience as a professional psychologist, half a century on the planet, everything that I've learned from my clients and my own experience. I'm going to start with agency as opposed to victimhood. Now, I've picked those 2 words on purpose. Agency has to do with the power to direct our own lives. Victimhood, in my mind, I'm not talking about a victim of crime or a victim of abuse. I'm talking about a victim mindset or way of seeing the world. I set this up as a core value that we have to choose between one of those positions, agency or victimhood. Agency leads us to freedom and liberty and possibilities in our life. Victimhood leaves us to captivity and stuckness and misery. This is at the core of what drives happiness and success. And here's the catch. Agency is all about choice. Victimhood is all about no choice. And if you have no choice, you are truly restricted. I'm not saying that you get to choose everything that happens. In fact, most experiences we have in life just happen, and we didn't necessarily choose them. What if a big storm comes through, a tornado or a hurricane? What if there's an earthquake? What if there's a pandemic? What if we're attacked by terrorists? You didn't choose that. But in each of those examples, I could share with you stories of people that I've interviewed or read about or heard from, where they took the same experience that everybody else had and transformed it into something beautiful, powerful, inspiring. I've been podcasting now since 2007, and that's before podcasting was even a thing. On my show, Live on Purpose Radio, I have interviewed literally hundreds of people with inspiring stories, and every single inspiring story has a hard part in the middle. That's what gives it the power to inspire me. If there's no hard part, there's no inspiration. So when we get into the agent paradigm, we see our circumstances, no matter what they are, as simply what it is. And then what we do with it depends on our position or paradigm of either agency or victimhood. The next core value that I think is so essential to happiness and success is love over hate. I pick the word hate because people hate the word hate. But really, if it's not love, what is it? And this comes back to choice again. Do you remember as we were talking about agency versus victimhood? It is a choice. Until you see it as a choice, it's not. I had a couple come to my office. She slips out to go down to the restroom or something to freshen up. He tells me while she's out of the room, "Doc, I just don't love her anymore." They're here working on their marriage, and he's telling me this while she's out of the room. My gut response to that is, well, then love her, duh. And that annoys and irritates some people because they think love is a feeling. I'm not talking about it as a feeling. I'm talking about it as a core value and a choice. If we consider that it's a choice for just a minute, and you realize that every interaction you have with other people on this planet is going to fall on one side or the other. Either it's going to be a love choice or a hate choice. And if you have to choose, which one are you going to choose? That's what I'm talking about. You declare which side of the board you're on here. The love side or the hate side. In my book, The Love Choice, where I collaborated with 17 professional speakers, we each contributed a chapter about love. In the love choice, my particular chapter talks about hate as being based on 3 steps. You assume the worst about that person or situation. You practice pride because you know that you're right, and you dig in your heels about that so that you don't budge. And you think to destroy or to hurt or maim or retaliate. Do you see how that's a hate choice? Well, what's the opposite? To choose love, we assume the best. And even if you're wrong, you're in a better position. I guarantee that. Assume the best. Since you don't know what other people's intentions are or what they're really thinking, I know you think you do, but that's part of the hate choice, because practicing pride has you knowing what other people think. No, we're going to assume the best and then practice humility, which is giving up our need to be right in exchange for being open. And then the 3rd step, use that incredible mind of yours. Think to create and to lift and to edify. This is an important core value, because you're going to be on one side or the other. And you look at all the problems that we're facing in our world, many of them are fueled by hate. Enough already. Let's choose love. I've noticed that there are a lot of different ways to look at things in our world, and one of the core values that really contributes to success is a mindset of abundance over a mindset of scarcity. Think about those 2 words and what they really mean. Successful people think in terms of abundance. There is enough and to spare. While those who are trapped tend to think about scarcity. And this often happens first thing in the morning. Oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night. Not enough. There's not enough money. There's not enough love. There's not enough time. There's not enough resources to do what I want to do here. This mindset of scarcity has people hoarding and clinging and being fearful about running out. I saw this so powerfully as we were dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. And did you notice this? The grocery stores were cleared of things like toilet paper. Why? Because people are buying it up and hoarding it and clinging to it in a sense of scarcity. There's not enough. I better get what I can get right now. If you have a sense of abundance, you're not worried about that. There's enough and to spare. It changes how we interact with people. But more importantly, it puts us in a position where we have the courage and the wherewithal to move forward and actually contribute to the solutions instead of making the problems worse. Which leads me right to the next value. That abundance mindset puts us in a position where we can become true producers of value. Producer versus consumer. This is an important distinction, and I believe that it's a choice. One of the most influential books that I've ever read is Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. In this book, the author describes a society where there is a marked difference or separation between the producers and the consumers. Think about it as a consumer shows up to devour or consume or eat up whatever is available to them. That sounds kind of nasty when I put it that way. Now, I know in the marketplace that consumers are important. We produce goods for whom? For the consumers. I'm talking about consumer as a mindset opposed to producer. See, a producer shows up to create or make or bring to the table more than they take away. So there's plenty for them and there's enough to share with other people. It's the producers in our world that make it possible to drive a car or buy clothing or live in a home. Most of these things you have not created for yourself. So you are dependent on those who have produced or created these goods and services for you to consume. Now, we are all consumers. We have to be. It's part of our mortal existence here on planet Earth. We have to feed our bodies. We have to clothe ourselves and our families. We have to consume. So the question becomes, what am I producing? And I think one of the keys to happiness and success is to produce more than we consume. If it falls on the other side of that equation, and we are consuming more than we produce, then we're depleting the overall source of value in the world. We have to be producing. And that's important from a psychological standpoint too. In one of my training courses, the Positivity Power Up, I spend a whole module talking about something called Happynomics. You can check in with that at positivitypowerup.com. And you'll see what I'm talking about in that module. It's important to us psychologically to feel that we're contributing. We have to look at this producer mindset as part of the core of our psychological health and success. Everything that I've shared with you so far boils down to one concept for me, which has to do with the difference between positivity and negativity. Can you see how everything that we've talked about so far adds into that? And for me, positivity is not some trite, fluffy psychobabble that you hear from a motivational speaker on the stage. You've heard it before, right? Just think positive, which can be annoying and irritating unless you understand all of the psychology and science that goes behind that important principle. I spent over 3 years developing a model for positivity. It's basically learning how to operate the equipment of our own mind. And when you can do that, it puts you in a position of choice. See, the world is what it is. Everything that's going on around you, who you are with, what you have, the way things are without changing anything, it is what it is. Positivity has to do with the way you judge your life and everyone around you, and the way you move forward to create what is to be. Those two important components, evaluation and creation. I've got a mini book called Portable Positivity that will explain that whole model to you. And I'm offering it to you for free. Just go to drpauljenkins.info/portable positivity. Go pick up a free download of that and you'll see the model that I'm referring to here. It's absolutely essential to our success and happiness that we learn how to operate the equipment. I mentioned the free download of Portable Positivity. You can also get a free copy of my book, Pathological Positivity. Go to the website, drpauljenkins.com, and you'll see where you can get connected to that and a lot of other awesome resources to help you be happy and successful. Happy to be on your team.
Her head was down, face locked onto the phone. And I wished I